Hey everybody, it's Suburban Prepper here. Today I want to review the Rat's Tourniquet with EDC sleeve and 2 medic card combo from Readyman.com. Now I received this for the holidays and I've been wearing the Rat's Tourniquet on my belt in my person with the accompanying EDC elastic sleeve, and at first it was a little hard to wear this, not hard as in difficult, but it was to me very obvious and conspicuous having this on my belt. And I was getting a lot of questions from people like, what is that? You know, what's that on your belt? Why do you have that? Because at my work sometimes I have to dress with my shirts tucked in. So this has been sticking out. So one thing that I found to help out with this is actually to remove the elastic EDC sleeve from it. And then I looked around my house and found that a couple of messenger bags I have on the straps had these old cell phone cases, nylon flimsy fabric cell phone cases with even like a spot for a business card with a Velcro top. And the Rat's Tourniquet actually fit in very well to these sleeves, and you can close it up and then slip this right on my belt. And also what's nice about these is that they have the Velcro closure, so that if you already have your belt through your pant loops and you forgot to put this on, you could just slide this over your belt while it's still on your pants. And I had a short one like this that I found on one bag, and then a longer one from another bag that I had. Same thing, full length Velcro closure on the back. But then wearing this around, it was much more inconspicuous and people weren't asking as much what it was, and different people, not even the same. So very happy with that part of the purchase, to have this ready at hand in case something goes down at my work or out in public or anything like that. Okay, next from the combo kit is the 2 medical cards that that come with it. And these actually did not come with any instructions. They came in this plastic case like this. And there's been other people on YouTube that talk about the Readyman cards, and they think it's real cool to have the lock-picking one and the survival stove one, and then they just glaze right over the first aid card and they say, oh, you got to have this, it's going to save your life. That's self-explanatory. But then I received these and it's not that simple. It's not self-explanatory. I had to go to ReadymanStore.com and look at the explanation from their site on what everything was. And what the cards include is 2 tweezers, which would be here. There's 1 bar as a tweezer, 2nd bar as a tweezer, 2 straight needles. So you got 1 needle here at the top, another needle down here at the bottom, 3 bandage and cloth clips, and that's these 1, 2, and 3. Now if you're looking at these, you might say, well, how are these bandage and cloth clips? Well, these were actually used to seeing with ace wraps or elastic wraps, and I have one here. This is one of these elastic bandages, and there are the clips there. These are very flimsy aluminum, and you can actually see how they are very similar in shape and design to the ones in the card. You know, and you see that these have a curve to them. That's mainly for packing reasons, but also they're form-fitting, and the curve allows you to better attach them when you have the elastic bandage. But these Readyman cards, these are made out of 301 stainless steel. So when you bend these little triangular teeth down, like they are here, they will not, you know, bend and flex and then break off. I think we've all experienced these clips that they're aluminum, they're so flimsy that the little teeth bend and break off, and then you have no way to securely fasten your elastic bandage down. So it is nice to have 3 of these clips. And with the 2-card combo pack, then you have 6 of them. Right? And you see that even on other elastic bandages, like the smaller roll, which is, they call this single length versus double length of fabric, and 3 inches wide by 6 inches wide. Right? So you never know out in the field if, you know, what you're going to run into with one of these, or depending on what you pack in your med kit or your IFAK, or even taking like a strip of your t-shirt on the lower end off, like cutting it off, you know, as a big loop, cut it in the middle, and then you have relatively a on-the-spot elastic bandage. Then you'll have these clips to help attach it if there's ever an emergency. Alright, back to the card. Alright, next on the card are what they call 6 safety pins. They call these safety pins. They look kind of like fish hooks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you'll notice that they're very sharp. And I'd imagine that you take this small sharp angle and then you bend probably right here in this one, so that the loop then glides over the sharp end. And it might say, like, you know, why are safety pins important in first aid? Well, when you get a triangular bandage, which is good for, you know, all kinds of purposes, different cravat use, you can use it as a arm or shoulder sling, you know, these come with safety pins. But again, in the field, in a makeshift scenario, it's going to be nice, again, to have some way to secure fabric. Okay, moving on the card. Let me bring up my list here. We have 2 serrated blades, as they call them. There's one here, you can see this serrated edge, and one here with this serrated edge. Now, I work in medicine, in orthopedics, so I do use a lot of this stuff in my field. But I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure why Readyman has decided to include these. And I would actually love to see them produce a video, maybe for their website, that better demonstrates an example need of why they might need a serrated blade for some reason. Maybe it is to cut fabric from a shirt or something like that. Or say you have a leg wound and you need a way to cut and rip down the denim, you know, from the ankle, maybe all the way up to the thigh, if you have some kind of a stab wound or gunshot wound up in the thigh, to access the area. And then in that case, that'd be a good reason to have these safety pins. So after you treat the wound, cover it with some bandage and gauze, you can safety pin the leg back up, per se. All right, possibly, but again, I'd love to see Readyman describe what they envision that these 2 serrated blades or edges are for. All right, once again, moving on. Next, they provide something here called a tick fork. You may have seen out in camping stores or travel stores, there's a tick key, which is very similar. If you have a tick that's embedded into your skin, you would actually flip this over and put the tick right down in the center of the concave V, the groove here, and pull it out back towards the rear end of the tick so that their mouth and their head come out nicely and smoothly out of your skin and don't get embedded to then still cause an infection or leave any kind of viruses, whether it be a deer tick or anything like that, in. So that's always very helpful and handy to have. And on the other end of it, they have a nail scoop, I guess you'd say, to clean out the dirt from under your nails. Not necessarily a very important first aid tool, but it might be helpful with something that you can probably find a use for. And then, nail scraper they call it. And then finally in the card they provide one file here, which is like an emery board for your fingernails. And then finally they actually have these 90-degree bend angled needles. You see right here on the edge, right there, it bends 90 degrees and comes down here. And there's two of those, and they complement the two straight needles, top and bottom there. Now, again, I mentioned I work in orthopedics, and when talking about suturing and sutures, all of the suture needles are designed in a true curve, right? You probably have seen that. You need, it's like a 1/4 of a circle curve to all suture needles, so that you can grab them with your forceps or your pliers and poke them through the skin. And again, this is a part of the card that I'm curious to see what Readyman believes is a good use for these 90-degree needles, because they are wide here at the bend and they would be very painful poking through any flesh or skin if you were using these as suture needles. I mean, you might be better off using the straight needle and then bending a curve in it this way to then get the same suturing effect. But I'd be curious to see what they have as the primary use for those. But overall, it's great to have this, not as a life-saving first aid tool, but I could definitely see this as a great complement to any first aid kit, so that once you've evacuated to a safe area and things have calmed down from some kind of tragedy or disaster, then you have all of these, almost imagine them as accessories to a great full first aid kit or medical kit. Because again, not just elastic bandages, but I also have here a gauze roll. We've all seen these like in the movies. You find the end here. It's just a roll of gauze. If there's some kind of head wound or arm wound, this is what you're going to be wanting to wrap on to the body parts, preferably a sterile one, but then you'll again have to attach it some way. You could tie a knot in the end of it to the starting end, but it might be better to have these clips so that way you don't have to worry about untying a knot and then trying to retie the knot. Alright? And if you were ever going to use these as sutures, you'd also have to think of some kind of suture material. And our good old prepper resource, paracord. Yep, I did also actually do some research, and there are 6 main types of suture material, and they vary in different kinds of plastics, whether it be monofilament or braided, and one of the materials is nylon. And with nylon core from a paracord, you cut the end and you pull it out. I suppose if you were able to disinfect the braided core well enough, you could perform sutures with paracord. Now, always, practice and make sure you do your research before doing anything like that. but you know, this is definitely going to be a great compliment, like I said, to any first aid kit. All right. Thanks to Readyman for putting this little combo kit together, and I will definitely be carrying it with me in my EDC and get home bags in case something ever happens. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Again, this is Suburban Prepper. Please add any kind of comments or questions down in the section below, and if you want to contact me, I'll be getting my email address up soon. But for now, stay safe and prep on. See you next time.